people of Brentwood and Crestview are the real heart of this neighborhood's history.
And I made up my mind when I bought this house, the Lord willing, I was going to be here with us the whole time. And He's been good to me so far.
Our community has more stories than there are mosaic pieces on our amazing wall of welcome. Hancock Creek, which we know today as Arroyo Seco, was named for Austin Judge John Hancock, who owned 600 acres right here. In the late 1800s, a railroad was built through the northeast corner of what is now Crestview. There was a train stop called Abercrombie near the new Capital Metro rail station at Justin and Lamar. Along that same track, trains ran from Marble Falls to Austin, carrying Sunset Red, granite for the new state capitol, which was completed in 1888. Threadgill's on North Lamar has been around since 1933, when Kenneth Threadgill opened a gas station and a beer joint. Back then, it was beyond the Austin city limits, which was 45th Street. 30 years later, a young folk singer named Janis Joplin got her start there. In the 1940s, Albert B. Beddoe and Ray Yates began developing Crestview. Justin Lane was named for A.B.'s wife. Cullen Avenue was named for her brother. Clarence McCullough and Dr. Joseph S. Koenig developed Violet Crown Heights and the Violet Crown Shopping Center in Brentwood. After World War II, more and more young families moved to Brentwood and Crestview, and the landscape began to change from mostly farmland and wide open spaces to neat rows of well-kept homes.
When we went there, I think it was in a 1946 Chevy, and I rode with my dad out there, and I had the dog Buster with me. And the driveway at that point for almost the whole time was river rock that he had hauled in. It was very bare, very bare. No trees, no houses around. He had to plow it initially with a mule. He was raised in the country, so he built a sled behind the mule and plowed the backyard with the plow, and he was on the sled behind it.
It's hard to imagine now, but people moving here in the 40s and 50s could see the Violet Crown Hills to the west, where Far West is today. The new homeowners began to plant oak, sycamore, pecan, magnolia, and elm trees. In Brentwood Park, the Wagoners and other families planted sycamores they had found along Onion Creek and have maintained them for many years. The young families found lots of ways to have fun in the neighborhood.
Going to Brentwood Park in the summer and going swimming, and then at night all the kids in the neighborhood, if we decided we wanted to go play ball, well, we just go on and turn the lights on and we just all step there and play ball, and then we turn the lights off and walk home, 10:30 at night. No adults, just never worried about anything. It was just fun and free, and it was a great neighborhood to grow up in. You could walk to everything, and it's just a great, safe, nice neighborhood. Still is.
And these were all young families, and so they had block parties. They call them block parties. We didn't know what they were called in those days, and you never saw so many kids, and everybody on the block would come to somebody's house, and it was very, very congenial, very close neighborhood.
The two main things that I did with my friends when we were in elementary school was ride our bikes, and I rode my bike all over the entire neighborhood and play marbles. Marbles was a big deal.
Beverly's son was Ryder Schwartz.
A lot of people remember him growing up juggling on the sidewalk outside.
He later became known as Red Ryder and performed around the world and at Esther's Follies here in Austin. Drive-ins were popular, no matter what age you were. In 1940, Eddie Joseph opened the first one in Austin on the southwest corner of Justin and Lamar. The Chief was on the southeast corner of Lamar and Koenig from 1946 to 1973.
A lot of times we'd go to Clint's hamburger joint that was right on the corner of Justin Lane and North Lamar. Eat a hamburger, and then we'd go to the North Austin Drive-In, put the lawn chairs out, and watch movies. That was our Saturday night sometimes.
Crestview Shopping Center was built in 1952 by A.B. Beddoe and Ray Yates. The Prelip family has owned Minimax for 55 years. Since the beginning, the Prelips have hired local teenagers as checkers and baggers, and they still carry groceries to your car.
The stores I remember were the Minimax and the pharmacy. Now the pharmacy had fountain drinks, so you could go get cherry limeades there. And the Minimax had cute grocery sackers. And so all the girls went up there to see who was working.
Bill Williamson created the 8-foot wide metal star at the top of the State Capitol Rotunda in 1958.
Well, it was a highlight of my career. You got to see that if you can see up there. That's pretty high.
He remembers the way Herb Prelip was always a good neighbor to the community and to him. It's one reason he still shops there.
Well, I tell you, Herb Prelip opened up Crestview Minimax. That man was good. But anything I buy from the grocery store, I buy it from Crestview. Because Herb was the guy you could go to. Herb, I need a quart of milk, but I ain't got the money to pay for it. Well, you got your quart of milk.
J.D. Harper has owned and operated the Crestview Pharmacy since 1964. Sabrina Becker, who owned Perfecto Cleaners, and Lucretia Doyer, who owned Little Deli, are famous for always remembering customers' names. It's something they learned from their parents, Joyce and A.J. Custer, who owned the dry cleaners after A.J.'s parents, Dora and Felix Custer. The Crestview Beauty Salon opened in 1953. Owner Kathy Dunn has worked there 37 years. The Crestview Barbershop also opened in 1953. Kenneth Threadgill was good friends with barber and musician Roger Beck. Roger's late wife Margie sang with Threadgill. Well into the 1950s, the streets here were mostly dirt and gravel. Beverly Lester's dad, C.H. Lester, helped grade the streets.
He was an excavator, dirt excavator. He owned the C.H. Lester Construction Company. He built a lot of the streets here in the neighborhood. I don't know which streets for sure, except that I do know that he built Justin Lane.
Nowadays, you know how the city comes in and puts sidewalks in. If we wanted the sidewalk on our street, we had to pay for it. And that's just exactly the way it went. And even where our church is, it was all gravel and dust. And when no air conditioning at the time, and you know, here this dust would drift in.
And cars would be crunching on that gravel while you're in church, and you had that decision to make: close the windows, keep the noise out, and burn up, or open the windows, stay cooler, and have the crunching out there.
But even like paving, and if you want it, we used to want it on a street that was paved. But I know these other ones that when they wanted to be paved, and those that didn't, there was this gap in between. And
yeah,
that
you'd
it was
drive along, and the pavement would start, and the pavement end, and be gravel.
Mr. McCowan, who lived on the southwest corner of Rich Creek and Woodrow, did the paving. Our neighborhood is home to more than a dozen churches, and over the past 5 years, many of them celebrated 50th anniversaries and are still going strong. Walls can separate people, and they can show us how important community really is. More than 5 years ago, Gene Graham had a dream of creating a wall of welcome for our neighborhood.
I had been thinking for a while about doing an art project for the neighborhood, and I had worked for 10 years at Laguna Gloria Art Museum, putting together exhibitions, and I put a lot of energy into them, and you do them and then they're gone. And I thought, wouldn't it be nice to do something that's really directly connected with the neighborhood and something that lasts for a while? And so I was driving around, and as I had done a million times, driven down Woodrow Avenue, and I saw the wall and I thought, ha, that's it. And so I knew at the time I didn't go to the shopping center that much myself, but I knew it was really sort of the heart of the neighborhood, and was a lot of the older people in the neighborhood were very well connected with it. And so I thought it would be a great location. And it was a little bit lackluster as just a blank wall, so I think we've improved on it.
Over the past 5 years, making the wall a reality has brought neighbors together, from the Violet Crown Festival to making tiles to working side by side with Jean at the wall. It has given us a chance to share something of our lives, whether we've lived here less than a year or half a century.
Everybody in the neighborhood is so excited, and it's such a wonderful tribute to the neighborhood. I don't know of any other neighborhood in Austin that has anything that's quite this unique. And Jean has done just a wonderful job.
My favorite part is looking on there at the people who have their names and their addresses on there, and just realizing, remembering people that were here and recognizing the people that are here.
It has shown us that good neighbors hold the community together and keep it strong. And as Brentwood and Crestview grow, the wall of welcome will help us remember that together we can create something positive, something with meaning, something we know will last. Welcome to our neighborhood.
Yeah.